The annual battle in New York City between tenants and landlords over rent-stabilized apartments and whether the rent is going to be increased or stay the same is on. John Schumo has all the details. John, what's happening?
Bill, no one leaves a meeting happy when it comes to raising rents in New York City. The tenants don't want increases. The landlords want big increases. The Rent Guidelines Board, which is controlled by Mayor de Blasio, is proposing a middle ground this upcoming year. We're talking specifically about rent-stabilized apartments. There are about 1 million of them in the 5 boroughs. These are not market rate apartments. The median rent is around $1,200 a month. Unless there are significant improvements made to the apartment or the building, the landlords cannot raise these rents higher than what the RGB says. The board is proposing this year leases starting in October can increase between 0.75% and 2.75% for 1-year terms, and somewhere between 1.75% and 3.75% for 2-year leases. As is the case year after year, no one is pleased. Both sides say the cost of living in New York City is going up, we cannot pay our bills, and no one is listening to our complaints.
Mayor de Blasio made a campaign promise for a rent freeze when he was running in 2013, and he delivered on that promise twice and almost did it a third time in his first year in office. So we found that it's been incredibly difficult to raise our concerns at this board, that they are clearly more considerate of the tenant concerns.
Now, Bill, the Rent Guidelines Board will now hold public hearings. It will consider testimony. It will make a final decision on the exact percentage within those ranges in June. Mayor de Blasio pushed through rent freezes for 2 straight years, unprecedented at the time. But last year, the RGB allowed modest increases, and it's poised to do the same this year as well. Bill?
John, quick, 2 questions. One, just to clarify, this goes back to the 1940s. I mean, this is not a new regulation. This has been around for a long time.
Rent regulation started in 1942, I believe it was, when FDR pushed through the emergency price control law. The state took it over in the 1950s, and now the city controls the rent-stabilized apartments. The state controls the rent-controlled apartments. It's all considered rent regulation.
Got it.
It's confusing. There's a lot of fraud in some cases. There are income limits for stabilized apartments. A lot of people make more than the threshold. I think it's $200,000 a year annual income, and they figure out a way to get through that. But some people are genuinely in need of staying in these apartments because they just don't have the money to live in market rate apartments.
Okay, thanks, John.